what do we do to get closer to God? We can take a message from both the book of Judges and the gospel, which I read, but it has this to do with this idea of vows. The idea of vows. We can all relate to this in some way, shape, or form. For example, right now, many people in our community, among the young people, are observing a consecration to the Blessed Mother. And in our chapel, at a certain time of the year, we have a consecration to the Holy Family, setting aside for a certain period of time toward God, to the things of God, so that we can kind of focus in, center around on what is our faith about. It's a way to stretch us. There's another group. And it consists often of a lot of young Catholic men, I've noticed. And they have these extreme vows. They don't take warm showers, and they do certain things. They have certain devotions that they do. They practice. They make commitments to do certain readings, I guess, and so forth. And why are they doing it? Because to get closer to God. Sometimes you don't find the vow. The vow finds you. Sometimes, and that's what we see in these stories today. And perhaps it's the strongest vow, is in the strongest consecration, or the strongest commitment, call it what you will, because that's the one where God comes to you. Samuel had no choice, in a sense. It was prophesied that he would be a Nazirite. John the Baptist, about not drinking wine and being out in the wilderness. I imagine he had this same sort of vow. It's called a Nazaritic vow. And let me read to you what God gave them. All their days as Nazirites, they shall eat nothing that is produced by the grapevine, not even the seeds or the skins. All the days the Nazirite vow, no razor shall come upon the head, until the time is completed for which they separate themselves to the Lord. They shall be holy. They shall let the locks of the head grow long. Now, Samson had this Nazaritic vow. He was following these things, but he forgot why he was doing it. And he cut his hair. Or actually, he let somebody cut his hair and he lost his strength. He was blinded. He was mocked. He was made fun of for his losing his vow, losing his strength, and all these other things that he had by virtue of his vow, his covenant with God. But then it says very interestingly in the book about Samson, but his hair started to grow back. How many of you have ever been in a vow or made a commitment to God, maybe during Lent, and you're going full bore and everything, and doing everything you're supposed to do, what you feel like you've been called to, it's found you, and all of a sudden you just run out of steam, and you reach out and you drink that cup of coffee or drink that glass of wine, that glass of wine, or you forget the consecration. And then what do you do with that? Allow the vow to come back. And so we use these vows not as though they're going to save us by virtue of not eating meat or this or whatever you're doing. They don't save you, but they remind you of whose you are. Ask God to give you a vow. I think you know what my vow is. Oh, I should probably explain that. I'm a vegan. So what the heck is he talking about? My vow as a vegan is that I was doing scientific research back in the 80s, and I had to kill animals in the woods. And I felt horrible about it. And it just bothered me. It troubled me. I stopped fishing, and then over a decade later or so, I stopped eating meat, and on, because it just troubled me. And then all of a sudden, the vow found me, and I realized the reason I'm doing this is how I commit myself to God. Does it save me? No. Does it keep me closer to God? Yes. That's the purpose of a vow. Let's pray.